Hello everyone, my name is Makoto Shibata, head of FinLab from Tokyo, Japan. FinLab is a fintech hub with 50 startups and 17 corporate members, and our regulator, Financial Service Agency, has recently joined as a member. We are located in the heart of financial area of central Tokyo, which facilitates our open innovation initiatives. For discussing FinTech Hub and open innovation in Asia, I have invited FinTech experts, very influential in their respective community. Shan Luo from Taiwan, Sam Tansku from Thailand, Karan Pua from Malaysia, and Chia Hook Lai from Singapore. As I finish my introduction, I will have others introduce themselves.
All right. And first of all, thanks, Shibata-san, for inviting me. I'm Shan Luo, also Shan Luo. I'm from Taiwan, from FinTech Space. FinTech Space is the FinTech Innovation Hub in Taiwan. And that is a government-backed and also have associated from the private sector. So it's a private and public partnership model. So we call it PPP model. And so we got the resource both from the regulator as well as the industry side. And we covers incubation, acceleration, and also regulatory communication as well. So we provide a platform that everyone from FinTech to financial sector that if as long as they are willing to, they can do the experiment in FinTech space. So we also think we are an experimentation venue.
My name is Sam Tansku. So I'm the managing director of Krungsi Finnovate, which is the corporate venture capital of Krungsi Group in Thailand. So Krungsi Group, we are under the MUFG, Mitsubishi Financial Group from Japan, one of the top leading bank in the world. So myself has the to position in the association. So I'm the board member of the Thai FinTech Association, as well as I'm the vice chairman of the Thai Venture Capital Association. So both on two sides, both on the startup side and also on the venture capital side. Apart from that, I'm the board member of the few FinTech portfolio that we have been investing. So I have been in this area for about 5 years already in the FinTech space in Thailand. So we actively invest in startup in Thailand and the regional.
Hello, everyone. My name is Karen Phua. I am the president of the FinTech Association of Malaysia. We are a fairly young association, only 4 years old, and we've had close to 200 members. Some drop off due to the competitive business environment brought about by the pandemic. So our role at the association is to connect and to create collaboration for the members and with the ecosystem.
Yeah, my name is Hock Lai. I'm currently the co-chairman for Blockchain Association Singapore. I'm also the former and founding president of the Singapore FinTech Association. I do have a full-time job. My full-time job, I'm the CEO of Switchnovate, which is a FinTech and blockchain consultancy firm.
Thank you, Shan, Sam, Karen, and Chia for the self-introduction. To start the discussion, I would like to ask all of you, what is the unique feature of your FinTech hub or ecosystem?
The great thing of the uniqueness of the startup in Thailand is that all main banks in Thailand, they do have the FinTech team. Most of the top banks in Thailand have the corporate venture capital CVC like Krungsi. So they are all seeking for FinTech. startup to be working collaboratively with the business unit in the bank in all in all areas. Even you can be in the consumer side or the SME side or even in the operation side. So it can be they're all open to be working with.
The fintech ecosystem in Malaysia, I think with the pandemic, you can see somewhat the consumer is forced to adopt digital payment, and some of them have to do it overnight. So with the ride-hailing apps like people like Grab, combined with the lifestyle needs, people are more open to the idea of ordering their food and then paying everything digitally. So the good news is there has been a tremendous increase of 130% in e-wallet transactions and also 49% in online banking transactions. So I think moving forward, these are the good product features to slowly expand to include micro investing, such as like the robo-advisory and also InsurTech.
Yeah, I think what differentiates Singapore frequently is the strong government support, especially from the financial regulator, the Monetary Authority of Singapore. And then it helps that we are already one of the leading financial center in the region. And then from the ground up, we have strong industry associations such as the Singapore FinTech Association. And FinTech in Singapore is not just about disrupting the traditional financial institutions. It's very much about collaboration with the financial institutions. So in Singapore, we always position ourselves as a B2B FinTech hub, because in Singapore, we have more than 200 financial institutions and banks. And a lot of the fintech companies are actually servicing the banks rather than trying to disrupt the financial institutions. But we also position ourselves as a B2C gateway, because in Singapore, about 40% of all the fintech companies in Southeast Asia are based in Singapore. So they use Singapore as a regional HQ to service the region, which has a huge population size of 650 million.
Yeah. For us, we think that because Taiwan is well known by its technology capacity or competitiveness. So in fintech space, we call digital sandbox. We aggregate the different financial API from a mobile ID for authentication and to EACH and to some loyalty points from the financial institutions. And also we provide the market data, real-time market data from stock exchanges. So for us, we kind of trying to put those API as an interface for the technology or the developers to get into a financial innovation field that we think that is more friendly interface for those technology-based talents. And also in fintech space, we provide a regulatory clinic that is associated with the regulator in Taiwan, FSC.
Thank you, Sean. In case of Japan, we have sizable domestic market, and fintech players became active from the areas like payment, personal financial management, cryptocurrencies, and blockchain, mainly in B2C space. And in the past 5 years or so, all the stakeholders, including startups, financial institutions, regulators, investors, incubators, legal experts, academic institutions, have gradually become involved to form an ecosystem. As a result, more fintech players are coming into B2B space with different types of collaboration happening. And I will turn each of you to ask how you have been promoting open innovation in your community.
Last year, that we saw quite a few of the big corporations, banks, and even our stock exchange in Malaysia called Bursa, organizing and having datathon and hackathon, which is actually a very good way to get the talent pool, to increase the talent pool, and also to find innovative solutions to what is already there. And from what I see is that in terms of the market sector, there are three market sector that everyone should look at. Number one is the micro SME. How do we actually help the grassroots to expand their business? Number two will be the millennials. So that's where the hackathon and the datathon comes in, because we are tapping into the mind of the youngsters and trying to find out what is it that they're looking for. And then number three is the migrant workers, because we are now a digital nomad, and then the migrant workers are moving from one continent to another. But there is still a need to either help them send money via digital remittance, or even a global e-commerce where they can put the payment in the country, but then the goods get sent in their home country. So these are some of the innovative solutions that we welcome.
So right from the start in 2016, the Monetary Authority of Singapore set up a fund to support financial innovation. Is about $200 million. And then out of this fund, right, a lot of financial institutions actually tap onto this fund to set up their innovation labs. In fact, in Singapore now, we have more than 40 innovation labs set up by financial institutions. And in addition, we also managed to attract a lot of accelerators to come to set up in Singapore. So I think over the past few years, we have more than 150 accelerators. In addition, MAS also set up a regulatory sandbox. In fact, I think Singapore is unique in that we have two sandboxes. One is a normal sandbox. The other one is a sandbox express to accelerate people going into this sandbox. If their business model is something that is well understood, the risk is well understood, they could get their application within 21 days, because the normal sandbox, typically the whole process from getting into it and getting out is about 3 years. In addition, MAS also set up a subsidiary called the ASEAN Financial Innovation Network together with World Bank. So this is an API exchange platform. So that on one hand connects fintech companies by encouraging them to put their API onto this platform, and on the other hand, getting financial institutions in the region, especially in the ASEAN region, to come on board to this platform, so that this is a very quick way for them to experiment with financial innovation in this platform, which also has a sandbox for them to quickly experiment with the various APIs from the various fintech companies. Last but not least, every year during the Singapore FinTech Festival, MAS will hold this accelerator program, which is a worldwide hackathon, inviting fintech companies from all over the world to solve problem statements that are sourced from financial institutions.
Put it this way, we start with the API, then they can try with, and then the business side can talk to the collaboration opportunity. So we leverage the corporate lab and the fintech companies to discuss and to communicate, and also matching. And followed by, we provide the regulatory clinics, and they can understand whether they would need a partner to go into this innovation. So the fintech companies can cooperate with the financial institutions because they haven't got the license, or because they would need some modules from the banking system. So they can hand to hand and to apply or submit to the open banking and to the open banking tryout, and also the regulatory sandbox.
Thai Venture Capital Association in Thailand, we partner with the Thai Startup Association. So in every quarter, we do a program that we can do on the seminar and business matching in any other area, but like face to face. But right now we have to delay a bit during the COVID. But we have done since last year for 3 times already. So it's quite successful, and it's a part of the community.
As Sam mentioned, in their case in Thailand, Japan also promoted open innovation as the major financial institution felt the need to promote digital transformation. In the past, they were only working with the large system integrators. But since the speed of the changes in technology and business models have accelerated, they started to collaborate with fintech startups. And many new startups emerged to meet these needs with better interface and flexible offerings, especially in smartphone applications. Now I would like to cover the open innovation effort on international level. So the next question to all of you is how you have been collaborating with other communities outside of your country.
Yeah, at government to government level, MES has signed more than 24 cooperative agreements with other central banks to exchange knowledge and experience in developing fintech. From the industry association like Singapore FinTech Association, over the last 4 years, we have actually inked partnerships in more than 40 countries with about 60 fintech and tech associations to help each other share information, and also to distribute, let's say, conferences, events, or even hackathons with one another. And for the trade association, prior to COVID in 2019, we conducted 6 overseas trade missions to countries as near as like Thailand to as far as Kenya or even London. And also like we do speak at each other's conferences frequently. Before COVID, I was traveling about twice a month, speaking in conferences all over the world.
Everyone would need to have this kind of a global or regional cooperation, because different jurisdictions have different regulation. So, and financial is a very global trend. It's the financial innovation. So you cannot just close door to do your own innovation. And so we fintech space as the hub in Taiwan. So we also try to engage and connect with our regional partners or and the global counterparts. So from the industry side, and especially from the association and the innovation hub. So for example, we also would like to cooperate with FinnoLab, and we like to do the exchange program that can help both sides, fintech companies, to soft land in each other's markets with not so many difficulties. Because in this highly regulated industry, if you want to sublet in one market, you need to understand the regulation first. And also you need to meet the financial institutions as well. So definitely we will need the partners to help with. And we also will be the partner to help the other international fintech company to come into Taiwan. So we also provide this for the for two-way in fintech companies to come to inbound and outbound?
Thai FinTech Association, we do a partnership programs and collaborating with many other country association like Malaysia, Singapore. That what we did in the past, and also we open to be discussing with collaboratively with other country as well. So right now, basically in Thai FinTech Association or either Thai Venture Capital Association, we work with the East Embassy. Either the Japan Embassy, Israel Embassy, Ireland Embassy, and even UK Embassy right now, who are very actively on the startup, especially of FinTech in Thailand. So they are one of the good partner who can be sourcing the good startup who would like to bring their startup and be working in Thailand.
I think we work quite closely with our neighboring countries. There are a few companies and also representatives from OJK and also the FinTech Association in Indonesia, Ibu Mercy, that we always have the dialogue and then also see how we can introduce startups to each other. And then in Singapore, we work very closely with the Money Authority of Singapore and also with their events team especially. To collaborate and then to see how we can do cross events. And then also we work very closely with Enterprise Singapore. The last dialogue that we had, we managed to gather 10 startups from each of the country to have an open dialogue as to how the government can step in and help the startups expand beyond Malaysia.
Just like Karen and others mentioned, FinTech community in Japan is very keen to learn and share our experiences with others. In the past, Japan was known to be a difficult market to access, but that is changing gradually. For example, Financial Service Agency recently created English language support for new entrants, and they started to accept English application for some of the finance-related licenses, which was a big step forward. At our FinLab office, many talented engineers from outside of Japan are working for Japanese startups and creating diverse culture. Now I have to ask the final question to each of you. What would be an advice from you for someone trying to build FinTech ecosystem?
What is really important from my viewpoints would be to have this kind of a third party between the regulator and also the startups or the innovators, because that would be very different mindset from the regulation side to the innovation side. But they need we call the median or we call the interpreter to understand both, and also to help both sides to understand each other, both sides difficulties or both sides concerns or both sides limits, and also the good parts and the very honest parts. So I think for us to play this role, we think that is quite important to get the both sides trust. Trust is the foundation for the FinTech or the financial innovation. So if we don't have this kind of buffer, then the trust won't be built up so easily or so smoothly. So that would be the part I learned from this financial innovation ecosystem. This kind of a medium or the platform is really needed, especially if you want to have this innovation getting to the market.
I think since now we cannot fly and see the other countries, but I think at least in each country, if we would like to do the community, it's good to build if you already have association, which I believe that most of startup or venture capital would like to be joining with. The second part that the community should be doing is the gathering on the community one. You can do it on a quarterly or monthly. That would be sounds good for the community part. But the third one is the most important one, that how you should build and create the ecosystem effectively. Is try to so we under the Thai FinTech Association, we in every year we have the incubation. So so you can create an incubation to and welcoming all the early stage startup to be in the community. If you have space, if you have some some advisor, which is you can give in for free for those who are actively in the community, they would be feel free to be advising on those startup, and you can make a competition within a 6 month in every 6 months for them to be showing into the public. So those startup would like some good advisor, whether they can do the right business model and the right product to the market or not. So the community would be a good part that we could help to those startups.
I think again back to our tagline, which is to be the catalyst, because the startups are very small and their voice cannot be heard. But together, and then with the leveraging on the association, I think together we can be the catalyst and then speak up and then let the regulators hear it. Because I don't know about other countries, but our regulators are very open-minded.
I think one of the key success factor is really about the public-private sector collaboration. For Singapore FinTech Association, we collaborate very closely with the regulator MAS in order to create this flywheel effect. And we focus on four factors. First is to provide access to talent, because to develop a vibrant FinTech ecosystem, eventually these startups, these financial institutions undergoing digital transformation, they will need FinTech talent, especially tech talent, because for Singapore, at least we have a lot of financial talent, but tech talent is always a challenge. The second factor is providing access to capital, because for a lot of the FinTech companies, if they want to grow, to scale up, especially in the region, they will need a lot of funding. And in this case, right, Singapore has managed to solve that to a certain extent, especially for early stage funding. In fact, I think despite COVID-19, our total FinTech investments in 2020 exceeded that of 2019. I think it exceeded by more than $1 billion US, and still about number 3 behind China and India in Asia. The third thing is really about providing access to markets. FinTech is really an industry that is borderless. Therefore, it's very important for a lot of the FinTech companies to internationalize by providing this kind of accessibility, which is especially important for a small country like Singapore, which don't have a big domestic market. Having access to international markets is very important. Last but not least is what I call advocating for pro-innovation policies, because like if the regulations are too stringent, it might curtail FinTech companies to set up in Singapore, and that will miss an opportunity for the consumers to experience new and innovative financial services, and we will miss that opportunity to generate economic growth and jobs for the nation.
Thank you, Chia. We all learned from Singapore. Even Japanese regulators are well informed of the situation in Singapore and started their own event, FinSum, after the success of Singapore FinTech Festival. To summarize the discussion today, good relation with regulator, collaboration with financial institutions, support from VCs are critical elements for FinTech startups to develop healthy ecosystem. And we all believe in the power of community. It is important to learn from others, not just success, but failure. On behalf of all of us, we sincerely hope your health in this difficult time and looking forward to see you in person in the near future. Thank you very much.